talk about this with Basil Smikle, former executive director of the New York State Democratic Party. Basil, I mean, obviously, Kyung's reporting is incredible. I mean, it's incredible, and it shows some real issues with government. Exactly the government that gives Americans so much anger and outrage these days.
Right.
The issue at hand, though, does remain. Mayor Adams in New York, Mayor Johnson in Chicago, they are very critical of Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden specifically. I mean, there's no beating around the bush on this in terms of the crisis itself. So can Biden get a handle on this before the election?
It's hard to say whether or not he actually can. He's not going to solve the problem before the election. This problem has been decades in the making. He's issued more executive orders in immigration than Donald Trump did. He's got to try to find a balance between the policies during the Obama administration, because he was actually critical of that, and not engage in what I would call the politics of cruelty, which is what has transpired here. Look, as a child of immigrants, whether it's on the border or it's in New York, what we're seeing is inhumane. And I think what Joe Biden can do is find a way to give those Democratic or those mayors or governors some cover.
Should he use an executive order to just close the border, let the courts challenge it, but close it?
I don't know if that's the exact path that he should take. What I do think should happen is what mayors and governors are already doing, essentially asking for forgiveness and not permission, meaning that give them the space and the room to actually try to solve these problems locally, get them a path to be able to get jobs, earn an income, contribute in their taxes, and then find a way as we move on to try to see if we can solve this problem. That's what's happening anyway. So continue to give these mayors and governors an opportunity to do that. But by the way, put Congress back to work to get them to find a bipartisan solution, which was already on the table.
I want to ask you about the other story I mentioned a moment ago, which was Mike Pence coming out and saying he will not endorse Donald Trump. Here's exactly how he put it.
Donald Trump is pursuing and articulating an agenda that is at odds with the conservative agenda that we governed on during our 4 years. And that's why I cannot, in good conscience, endorse Donald Trump in this campaign.
Now, to those who say, well, I mean, come on, Aaron, how do you think that's anything? I mean, this guy was almost killed. Life was threatened, to be exact. He's come out repeatedly against what Trump did on January 6th. To those who say that, I say, look at Mitch McConnell getting in line. Look, there's so many other examples of people who, no matter what we know they have publicly said about Trump, are now backing him because he's the nominee. What do you say to Mike Pence, who refuses to do it?
Well, in his statement, he said some people should not be surprised by this. I'm a little surprised by it because he wasn't as forthright as, say, Chris Christie or even later in the campaign, Nikki Haley, in talking about their differences with Donald Trump and why he's not good for the party. He was quiet on that. And, for him to, and I understand perfectly, he felt his life was being threatened by Donald Trump supporters. I get that. I don't know if anybody else comes to stand with him in support of his statement against Donald Trump. That's what remains to be seen. How many people operationally fall in line with Donald Trump?
Right. As you point out, it's a lonely island. He and Chris Christie are roaming around. All right. Thank you so much, Basil. Appreciate it.